Hello, this is a quick tutorial about how to put formulas, specifically formulas from finance, into your calculator. Um, let's begin. All right, I've got two formulas here that we are going to work on. By the way, I'm going to put this up on YouTube and it will be searchable, but this is primarily for a class that I teach or that I help teach. So I won't offer any further explanation of that, but I hope you find it helpful because it is targeted specifically towards calculations for a finance class. All right, let's begin. First formula that we want to do is this one, and you may recall from high school that there's something called PEMDAS, which tells you a specific order. You may have heard it called order of operations, or maybe there was a different name for it. But basically, there's an order that you're supposed to do operations in when you put things into your calculator when you're doing a formula like this. Basically, the first thing that you're supposed to, parenthesis, the first thing that you're supposed to pay attention to are parentheses. Next, pay attention to exponents. And the short answer for PEMDAS is you do things at the top first. I'll illustrate this later on. After that, you do multiplication and division. After that, you do addition and subtraction. All right, let's dive in. So in this case, the very first thing you need to do is the parentheses. So you're going to take this 1 plus 8%. Usually I'll do this in my head rather than using a calculator because there's a lot of calculations. 1 plus some percentage, 1.08. So I'll do that in my head. What's the done parenthesis? Now I need, are there any exponents? There sure are. That's the to the 8th power. So I'm going to plug that into my calculator next. 1.08 to the, this is the exponent button on a calculator. That's what it looks like. It isn't on all calculators. But so you may need a scientific or a financial calculator for that. If you have a regular calculator, shoot me an email, but no, just use something else. Okay, so we need this to the 8th power. We do that next, we put it in. It turns out that 1.08 to the 8th power is 1.8509. And in general, I'll include more digits than I'll need in my answer, because if you don't, then you can get rounding errors along the way. So the only thing I haven't taken care of at this point is this 1,000. So I'm left with 1,000, x equals 1,000 times this thing. So now I've done my exponents. Now I can do the multiplication that's right here. So I'm just going to take this number. I've already got it in my calculator, so I'm going to leave it there, times 1,000 is this. So that is 1850.93. Because I know people care about applications, you may recognize that this is how much money you would have in an account after 8 years if you were investing at 8% interest and initially invested $1,000. All right, many other calculations using financial calculations using this type of formula. Let's work on, before we work on the next one, I just want to emphasize that I find that often it's a little bit easier to do these calculations rather than using a calculator like this. You can just use Google, or you can type the exact same formula into a spreadsheet. Let's show, and you don't have to think as much. You don't have to do the PEMDAS. It does a lot of the PEMDAS for you because it's smart enough to do the PEMDAS work for you. So I'm just going to type the formula in to, there's like an implicit multiplication there, 1,000 times that. I don't think I need to put I should put this in there, but maybe I don't even have to put that in. We'll find out. 1 plus 8%, and I can just write it directly the way that it's written there, to the 8th. The hardest point here is putting that caret 8 here and recognizing that caret is the universal symbol for a superscript here, right? The 8 is lifted up, and the caret kind of looks like it's lifting up the 8. That's how you remember it. It's quite common, and in fact, when you do in a regular calculator to the 8th, it literally puts the caret in there to say, hey, there's an exponent. That's how universal this language is. So anyway, we use the caret here too. Just press enter when we're done. Google whirs away and gives us the exact number. One of the benefits is that in general, Google never has any appreciable rounding errors. So you can be very confident in the accuracy of this number. While we don't overemphasize accuracy in this class, it's always good to have more accuracy rather than less. I also want to emphasize, so we got away without putting the multiplication sign in there, but Google again is smart enough to recognize and give you the same number if you do put the multiplication sign in. It's kind of flexible that way. Likewise, if you are putting this into a spreadsheet, such as Google Sheets, which I highly recommend, you would just put the same formula in, but just start it with an equals. And once again, Google itself is smart enough to give you the same answer, saying, oh, I kind of know what you meant by putting that equals in there. So they're all very smart software. Or Google search is very smart. A spreadsheet is a little bit more inflexible, but it's a great piece of software worth learning. If you don't have access to Microsoft Excel, I highly recommend Google Sheets. Just Google the word Google Sheets. You'll have to create a Gmail account, but I don't think you'll regret it if you do. It only takes 45 seconds. All right. Once you do that, sheets.goo is what I typed. Google.com. You will be told, welcome to Google Sheets. I'm just going to maximize this. No, I don't do any of that stuff. All right, close this out and give me a blank spreadsheet. Once you accept all of their greetings, you'll be given something like this, and you can type the exact same formula in. Equals 1,000. And you do have to put the multiplication sign in a spreadsheet. 1 plus 8% all to the 8th. Enter correct answer really quickly. You can always go back and look exactly to see what you typed in case you made an error. By the way, the first time I recorded this, I did make an error. In the second one, I put a 4 instead of a 3. That's one of the reasons why you want to use a spreadsheet, because you can see what you've written down and exactly out where you're entered. If you're finding an error in a test, having that written record can be very helpful. And we're all human. We all make those mistakes. So you want to be able to catch them easily and kind of fastly. Okay, so let's do the next one. Again, I am going to assume that some of you want to use a calculator just because you're comfortable with it. So let's continue. As we go through the second equation, this is another extremely common form of equation in a finance class. Once again, we respect the parentheses first. I'm always going to do parentheses first. I'm going to replace the 1 plus 8% with 1.08. Okay. Next, we're going to do exponents. So I'm just going to recopy the formula, and I'm going to do the exponent step. So 40 divided by 1.08 to the first power. Now, some of you may know that taking something to the first power doesn't change the number, so some of you may skip that step. That's fine. I do that in my section sometimes. I won't do it this time, but whatever. And then 40 over 1.08 squared plus, and then there are, it turns out on the top of a fraction, there are implicit parentheses. So I can combine this 1,000 plus 40, even at the very first step. 1,040 divided by 1.08 cubed. Ooh, that's when I'm going to have to put into my calculator. I guess I should even put this one into my calculator. Let's do it. What is 1.08 squared? There's the squared button. It is 1.1664. What is 1.08 cubed? It is 1.08 to the third power equals 1.2597. Now that we've done exponents, there's no multiplication in this formula. And what we've got left, all there is division. So let's go down and do the division step. Now we can put these into our calculator. We've got 40 divided by 1.08. And to the first power, it is just 1.08. So I'll just erase that. And you get 37.037 plus. Now we've got 40 divided by 1.1664 is 34.2935. I always, because I'm cautious, put a couple extra digits in. You'll never, it doesn't take that long, so you're not really ever going to regret it. At least I won't. And then we'll do this term. It is 1040 divided by 1.2597. Put that in, and you get 825.593. Now we get to do addition. That's our last step. So we need to add up these three things. Since this is already in the calculator, I'll start with it, and I'll add these two to it. Plus 34.29355 plus 37.037 equals 896.92. So $896.92, and you are good to go. Once again, we can do that in Google or in a spreadsheet, and we will do it more quickly and more accurately. But might put you out of your comfort zone. 1.08. I'm going to do some of the steps in my head. So then I'm going to do plus 40 divided by 1.08, and I'm going to put a squared to indicate that the 1.08 is squared, plus 1040. And again, I'm going to do this calculation in my head. Really saves you time, worth doing. Divided by 1.08. And you'll want to do calculations like that on the homework so that you'll have practice, such that when the exam comes along, you'll be confident, it'll be automatic and fast. Definitely the way you want to be. As close as you can get to that ideal. Put it in there. It tells you the exact same answer, but more rapidly and a little bit more accurately, because you get all the digits you need. But notice, you know, once you round it off to the nearest penny, this was close enough. And I probably really didn't need to do quite as many decimal points. In general, in the end, we want to write down 2 decimal points for pennies. So usually, if you do your calculation with 1 more, you're generally going to be just fine. So 3 decimal places after the decimal point is great. Okay. But usually I'm trying to do things so quickly, I just throw in a couple extra decimal points. All right. And then the last thing I want to note is that you can take this formula. You can also do it in the free Google Sheets or in Excel. You paste exactly the same formula in there. Just don't forget to add an equal sign. And you are good to go. Once again, you get exactly the same number, and highly accurate, because both typing it into Google and typing it into a spreadsheet give you very, very accurate and precise numbers. And that is it. I hope you found this helpful. And feel free to change these examples, put in a different interest rate, change 8% to 5% or 6%, different numbers, practice. Worthwhile getting it done early, such that later on it's just a confidence builder, because you all can master this. All right, take care. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in section.